All right, so we're diving into some seriously freaky shit today, cross-dressing. We got a whole stack of info here, mostly from that Wikipedia rabbit hole. Talking centuries of hidden history, gender-bending rebels, costume changes galore.
We're gonna sift through the bullshit and get to the juicy parts.
So first off, what the hell even is cross-dressing? Wikipedia says it's about wearing clothes typically associated with a different gender.
Damn right. And it's about challenging those rigid-ass gender norms society shoves down our throats, not just throwing on a dress or a suit.
Pushing boundaries, not just playing dress-up. And even the words to talk about this have changed, right? Like, transvestite is out these days.
Yeah, that word's got baggage, outdated, and offensive. Cross-dresser is the way to go now.
Makes sense. Then there's en femme and en homme, those more nuanced.
You got it. En femme, man adopts a feminine presentation, clothes, mannerisms, the whole shebang. En homme is the flip side, woman in a masculine way, embodying a gender style, not just the clothes.
The whole package, attitude, vibe. Now, one thing that blew my mind, how far back this goes. Not some recent fad, all right?
Hell no. This shit's been around for centuries. Cultures all over the world, ancient Japan, for example, kabuki theater, all about blurring gender lines on stage, men playing women, women playing men. It was all fair game.
I remember Korean shamanism, too. Shamans would cross-dress to represent both male and female spirits, channeling different energies through their clothing and appearance.
Right. Connecting with the spiritual realm, transcending gender limitations. People have been messing with gender roles for a damn long time.
Makes you think our modern obsession with gender binaries is kind of fucked up, right? Like maybe things were more fluid in the past. Speaking of, what about examples from Western history?
Oh man, shitload of stories from the West. Remember those Welsh farmers? Dressed up as women to protest taxes, the Rebecca riots. They'd go out and drag, smashing toll gates, raising hell.
Fuck your taxes, we're wearing dresses and tearing shit down. Talk about a statement. And there's the women who cross-dress for practical reasons. Margaret King disguised herself as a man to get into medical school.
Balls of steel. She risked it all to pursue her dream. And the countless women who cross-dressed to fight in wars, tired of being told they were too weak for combat.
Yeah, Joan of Arc, classic example, leading French armies dressed as a man. And Deborah Sampson, first female soldier in the U.S. Army, pretended for years, fighting, even getting wounded.
Pioneers, paving the way. They showed the world gender is a construct. Anyone can be a badass, regardless of what they wear.
Mind-blowing how many women hid their gender just to do what they wanted. Forced to play by society's rules, but they subverted the system.
And their stories remind us the fight for equality is ongoing. People still marginalized and oppressed for their gender identity or expression.
Gotta keep telling those stories, challenging norms, pushing for a world where everyone's their authentic selves without fear.
Damn straight. But for now, let's keep digging into this history, see what other skeletons we unearth. All right, so we dug up some wild examples of cross-dressing. Let's fast forward a bit, see how this played out in the 20th and 21st centuries. Things got interesting.
Yeah, the last century, a roller coaster of social change. Cross-dressing was right in the mix, pushing boundaries, pissing people off.
Absolutely. Huge shifts in attitudes toward gender, sexuality, self-expression. Cross-dressing part of those conversations, whether people wanted to admit it or not.
Okay, let's talk about media, movies, TV, books, how they handle cross-dressing.
Mixed bag, honestly. Sometimes they get it right, the complexity, humanity, but other times, lazy stereotypes, cheap laughs.
Yeah, cross-dressing is a punchline, some weird fetish. Gets old fast.
Totally, but also groundbreaking moments, normalizing it, challenging views.
Examples, I'm drawing a blank.
All right, how about Shakespeare? Master of gender-bending characters, Elizabethan era. Viola in Twelfth Night, disguising herself as a man. Survival in a patriarchal world.
Damn, Shakespeare was woke AF.
Yeah.
And more recent stuff.
Classic comedies. Tootsie, Dustin Hoffman, Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams. Gender roles, funny and thought-provoking.
Hilarious. But made you think about expectations on men and women.
Exactly. Cross-dressing is more than a laugh. Survival, challenging norms, exploring yourself.
Speaking of exploration, what about books?
Incredible books. Delve into cross-dressing, gender identity, Virginia Woolf's Orlando mindfuck novel. Main character changes sex over centuries.
That's trippy. Shakespeare, comedies, mind-bending literature. What about music? Musicians love pushing boundaries, riling people up.
Oh, hell yeah. Music, platform for challenging norms, radical expression. David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, blurring gender lines, flamboyant costumes, androgynous looks.
Boy George, too. Makeup, outrageous outfits.
And Marilyn Manson, whole other level, shocking theatrical.
They weren't cross-dressing just for shock value. Challenging the status quo, questioning assumptions about gender identity.
Inspired others, embrace their expressions, and fashion always obsessed with gender boundaries.
Yeah, fashion's about pushing, reinventing. How has cross-dressing influenced what we wear?
Rise of androgyny, gender-fluid fashion, designers blurring lines, menswear, women's wear, clothes for anyone.
Not just high fashion, right? We've been wearing pants. Used to be scandalous, now it's normal.
Exactly. Cross-dressing gone mainstream. Sign of progress, though, we've got a ways to go.
Speaking of progress, the LGBTQ plus community, front lines of the fight for equality, acceptance. Cross-dressing a big part.
Absolutely. Stonewall riots, pivotal, sparked by police harassing cross-dressers, transgender individuals, tired of being targeted, discriminated against.
And they fought back, paving the way for LGBTQ plus people to live openly.
And drag culture, drag queens, kings, taking cross-dressing to another level. Art, activism, entertainment.
Drag, celebrating individuality, challenging norms, having a damn good time.
Gone from underground clubs to mainstream TV, queer culture in the spotlight.
Amazing how far we've come, but the fight's not over.
Damn right. Discrimination, violence, prejudice. We need to keep fighting for their rights, amplify their voices, create a world where everyone feels safe, respected.
Okay, we've covered a lot. I'm curious about the psychology. Is it a mental disorder?
Tricky question. The answer's evolved. Cross-dressing was pathologized. Mental illness.
Transvestic fetishism, a diagnosis in those old psychology manuals.
Thankfully, moved beyond that bullshit. Now, not a disorder unless it's causing distress, impairment.
If someone enjoys it, not hurting anyone, who cares?
Exactly. Respect individual choices, recognize the spectrum of human behavior, gender expression, sexuality.
It strikes me so many reasons why people might cross-dress, not one size fits all.
Right. Sexual pleasure, self-expression, gender exploration, performance, cultural tradition, even just for fun.
Finding what feels right, challenging norms, expressing a different side.
Everyone's journey is unique. Respect those differences. Create a world where people feel safe to explore without judgment, shame.
All right, we talked about bacha posh earlier. Afghan tradition, girls raised as boys. Other cultures where cross-dressing is part of tradition.
Oh, hell yeah, tons. Many Native American cultures, two-spirit individuals, embody both masculine, feminine spirits.
So, not just clothes. Deeper understanding of gender, spirituality.
Exactly. Two-spirit individuals were revered, held important roles. Western ideas about gender aren't the only way.
This deep dive has opened my eyes. Cross-dressing is diverse, complex, history, culture, identity, expression, and, yeah, sex too.
And that makes it fascinating. Thinking outside the box, questioning assumptions, embracing human experience.
We've covered a lot today, but there's more to uncover. What's the future for cross-dressing? More acceptance, understanding.
I'm optimistic. We got to keep pushing. Dismantle stereotypes, create inclusive spaces, educate about gender expression.
And celebrate those who dare to be different, challenge the status quo, show us there's more than one way to be human.
Damn straight. Long way to go, but the future's brighter.
All right, we've danced around it long enough. Time to talk about sex and cross-dressing.
Let's cut the crap. For some folks, it's totally tied up with their kinks, their desires, a turn-on.
I remember they used to call it transvestic fetishism, a mental disorder.
Thank God we've evolved. Shrinks aren't so quick to pathologize everything anymore.
So, what's the deal now? Still a link between cross-dressing and getting your rocks off.
Look, the current thinking is it's only a problem if it's messing up your life or someone else's. If someone gets off on cross-dressing, everyone's consenting, happy, then live and let live.
So as long as it's not hurting anyone, all good. But let's be real, there's still a ton of stigma around this, especially the sexual side.
You're telling me some people still think it's deviant or sick, leads to some fucked up discrimination.
It's like they can't handle anything outside their view of normal. That judgment can be brutal, especially for folks figuring out their own gender identity or sexuality.
Yeah, adding fuel to the fire, making people ashamed to be themselves. And the media hasn't helped.
No kidding. Plenty of movies, shows using cross-dressing as a cheap joke, or painting cross-dressers as, creepy perverts.
Lazy and harmful, perpetuating stereotypes, reinforcing the stigma. We need more nuanced, respectful representations, show the diversity, the humanity.
Got to challenge those portrayals.
Yeah.
Demand better. How do we build a more understanding, inclusive society when it comes to this? Cross-dressing and sex, I mean.
Education, my friend. Talking openly, honestly. breaking down taboos, challenging stereotypes,
Creating spaces where people feel safe to explore, express themselves without judgment.
and celebrating those who challenge norms, push boundaries, show us there's no one right way to be human.
This whole deep dive's been a real eye-opener. Cross-dressing is way more complex than I ever thought. It's not just about clothes. It's history, culture, identity, expression, and, yeah, sex too.
Part of the human experience that's been demonized, misunderstood. Time to bring it out of the shadows, embrace its complexity, celebrate the diversity.
We covered a ton today, from ancient rituals to modern, fetishes, from Shakespeare to drag queens. I'm walking away with a whole new perspective.
Hopefully our listeners are too. Keep questioning, keep learning, never be afraid to challenge the bullshit. That's how we build a more inclusive world.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into cross-dressing. It's been a wild ride. Hope you learned something new.
Until next time, stay curious, stay open-minded. Peace out.